Welcome back. Freshman Congresswoman Kaite Porter of California made a name for herself during the 2018 midterms by becoming the first Democrat in history to represent the state's 45th district. And now the former law professor is gaining even more notoriety for her tough lines of questioning during congressional hearings. Congresswoman Kaite Porter joins me now from Irvine, California. Congresswoman, it's great to have you on the program.
Thank you so much.
So to start out, I want to show, and this is a moment that I think really broke through with a lot of Americans. My parents actually recently asked me about it. This was your questioning of Jamie Dimon, one of the most powerful men in American banking. Take a look.
She had $2,425 a month. She rents a one-bedroom apartment. She and her daughter sleep together in the same room. In Irvine, California, that average one-bedroom apartment is going to be $1,600. She spends $100 on utilities. Take away the $1,700, and she has net $725. She's like me. She drives a 2008 minivan and has gas, $400 for car expenses and gas, net $325. The Department of Agriculture says a low-cost food budget, that is ramen noodles, a low food budget is $400. That leaves her $77 in the red. She has a Cricket cell phone, the cheapest cell phone she can get for $40. She's in the red $117 a month. She has after-school childcare because the bank is open during normal business hours. That's $450 a month. That takes her down to negative $567 per month. My question for you, Mr. Dimon, is how should she manage this budget shortfall while she's working full-time at your bank?
I don't know that all your numbers are accurate. That number is generally a starter job.
She is a starting employee. She has a 6-year-old child. Okay, this is her first job.
And you can get those jobs at a high school, and she may have my job one day. So
she may, but Mr. Dimon, she doesn't have the ability right now to spend your $31 million.
I'm totally sympathetic.
She's short $567. What would you suggest she do?
I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
Would you recommend that she take out a JP Morgan Chase credit card and run a deficit?
I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Would you recommend that she overdraft at your bank and be charged overdraft fees?
I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
So I know you have a lot
I'd love to call her up and have a conversation about her financial affairs and see if we can be helpful.
See if you can find a way for her to live on less than the minimum that I've described.
Just be helpful.
Well, I appreciate your desire to be helpful, but what I'd like you to do is provide a way for families to make ends meet.
So, Congresswoman, a way to approach this questioning that we have not, frankly, seen as much from members of Congress in recent years. What made you decide to take that tact, and were you satisfied with the CEO's answers?
The question I asked is really one that reflects an understanding of what it's like to be an everyday American in this country. For a long time, Congress has been dominated by people who are wealthy, who are older, who have traditionally had power. I'm a single mom. I represent Irvine, California, and there are a lot of folks in my district who are struggling to make ends meet. So the question I put to Mr. Dimon is a question that millions of Americans have to ask themselves every single month. What can we cut? What can we do without? Because we don't earn enough to pay rent and pay for food and pay for the bare necessities. I was not satisfied with Mr. Dimon's answers. He said he would think about it, and I hope that he is. His bank is showing record profits. 2 days after that hearing, they announced record profits, and so I hope that he's going to return some of the profits of the bank to the hardworking employees who are helping make the bank profitable.
So on Friday, he defended the $16.50 minimum wage that his bank has. He said that it's not an arms race with competitors to raise that entry-level salary any further. That speaks to kind of the way our system is set up and the way that our businesses are incentivized. What do you think are the policy changes that need to happen to help people like the one that you described in this hearing?
So I think one issue that woman that we described, the kind of composite low-income worker, is facing is the very high cost of housing. And that's something that Mr. Dimon could do something about in his role as the CEO of JP Morgan Chase. So most people's incomes, a lot of it's being chewed up by rental payments or mortgage payments. So investing more in our housing finance system and in housing cost would be a big help. Another big problem for working parents in particular is the very high cost of childcare. So those are two things that I think from the cost side we could address. But I would say back to Mr. Dimon when he says it's not a competition. Actually, it is. Capitalism is based on competition. And so to the extent Bank of America is stepping up and paying more, if Mr. Dimon wants to compete for the best talent in the marketplace, he should step up his wages as well.
One other topic that I know stood out to you and that we took notice of on the question of the president's taxes, changing gears just a little bit. I want to show you what Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the White House press secretary, had to say about these tax returns. Take a look.
The only reason that the Oversight Committee has the ability to request someone's taxes or for the purpose of determining policy, this is all about partisanship. This is a dangerous, dangerous road. And frankly, Chris, I don't think Congress, particularly not this group of congressmen and women, are smart enough to look through the thousands of pages that I would assume that President Trump's taxes will be.
What do you say back to Sarah Sanders? Are you smart enough to look through the president's tax returns?
I think I am, and I think I was elected by the American people to do just that. It is our duty to look at the president's tax returns. That's why the law requires that the tax returns be released. And I think I've shown in my questioning to be very bright and willing to do the hard work. I'm not intimidated to read thousands of pages if necessary to do the work that Congress put in front of me.
Well, I, for one, would be interested to see what questions you came up with based on those returns. Congressman